A figure steps into the bustling Athenian market, his eyes glistening with curiosity and intensity. This is the man known to us as Socrates. Born around 470 BC, Socrates spent his life wandering the streets of Athens, engaging in conversation with anyone who would listen. He was a stonecutter by trade, but his true passion was philosophy. Despite leaving behind no writings of his own, Socrates' thoughts and ideas have been immortalized through the works of his students, most notably Plato. This enigmatic figure, with his probing questions and relentless pursuit of truth, laid the foundation for Western philosophy. Yet he remains a mystery. We know of him, but we don't really know him. He was celebrated in his time, yet he was also a figure of controversy, facing charges of impiety and corrupting the youth. Perhaps the most iconic aspect of Socrates' philosophy was his method of inquiry, known today as the Socratic method. It was a process of questioning and refutation, aimed at testing the logical consistency of a belief. Through this method, Socrates sought to expose the contradictions in the prevailing wisdom of his time, and in doing so, illustrated that true wisdom lies in recognizing one's own ignorance. But Socrates was more than just a philosopher. He was a soldier, a father, a husband, and a citizen. He was a man who lived his philosophy, standing by his principles even in the face of death. When sentenced to die by drinking hemlock, Socrates accepted his fate with equanimity, leaving behind a legacy of courage and conviction. But the question remains, why does Socrates matter? What makes his philosophy so profound? To understand Socrates, we must first look back at the philosophers who preceded him. Before Socrates, the pre-Socratic philosophers often probed the mysteries of the natural world. They questioned the workings of the cosmos, the essence of reality, and the origins of life. Think of Thales, who posited that everything came from water, or Heraclitus, who asserted that change was the only constant. These philosophers sought to unravel the universe's secrets, focusing more on what and how rather than why. Theirs was a philosophy of observation and deduction, a quest to understand the world in its tangible, physical form. They looked outward, towards the stars and the seas, the earth and the ether. Enter Socrates. He took a different approach. Instead of asking what the world was made of, Socrates asked what man was made of, not in a physical sense, but in a moral and ethical one. Socrates was interested in the inner life of human beings. He shifted the philosophical focus from the outer world to the inner world, where pre-Socratic philosophers might ask, what causes the tides? Socrates would ask, what is virtue? Where they might investigate the nature of light and darkness, Socrates would probe the nature of knowledge and ignorance. His questions were introspective, aimed at understanding the self, not the cosmos. While the pre-Socratics pondered the universe's composition, Socrates pondered life's purpose. While they sought answers in the physical realm, Socrates sought them in the realm of the mind and the soul. He was less concerned with the mechanics of the world, and more concerned with the workings of the human heart and mind. Socrates, in essence, turned philosophy on its head, making it a study of the self. He redefined the philosophical landscape, shifting the focus from understanding the universe to understanding ourselves. And in doing so, he laid the foundations for much of Western philosophy as we know it today. Socrates, in essence, turned philosophy on its head, making it a study of the self. At the heart of Socrates' philosophy lies a method, a way of thinking and questioning. This method is famously known as the Socratic method. It's not just a technique of inquiry, but a whole philosophy in itself, a lens through which to view the world. The Socratic method is a process of asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking and to illuminate ideas. It is a form of cooperative argumentative dialogue between individuals, based on asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking and to draw out ideas and underlying presuppositions. Imagine a conversation where one person posits a belief or an idea, and the other asks probing questions to challenge that belief or idea. The purpose is not to win an argument, but to expose contradictions, stimulate further thought, and ultimately lead to a more refined understanding. It's a method of understanding designed to encourage critical thinking, self-awareness, and a quest for truth. The Socratic method is not about providing answers, but about challenging assumptions and exploring different perspectives. It's about digging deeper, peeling back the layers of an argument or a belief, and examining it from all angles. It's a way of thinking that seeks to expose the limitations of our knowledge and to challenge us to continually seek a deeper understanding. In a sense, The Socratic method is a tool for humility. It reminds us that there is always more to learn, that our understanding is always incomplete, and that we should never be too certain of our own beliefs. It encourages us to question, to doubt, to seek, and to learn. It is a method that fosters curiosity, critical thinking, and a constant quest for knowledge. It is a way of life that values questioning over answering, seeking over finding, and the journey over the destination. The Socratic method is as relevant today as it was in ancient Greece. It encourages us to question our assumptions, to challenge our beliefs, and to strive for a deeper understanding of the world around us. Through the Socratic method, we are led to question everything, even our own beliefs. It's a potent reminder that wisdom begins in wonder, and that the path to understanding is paved with questions, not answers. In the bustling streets of Athens, Socrates found his adversaries in the sophists. These were the intellectuals of their time, influential teachers who charged hefty fees for their wisdom. Yet their philosophy was starkly different from that of Socrates. The sophists were masters of rhetoric, the art of persuasive speech. They believed that truth was subjective and could be shaped and manipulated through clever argument. Their focus was not on seeking the truth, but on winning debates and influencing public opinion. For them, might was right, and power lay in their ability to sway the masses with their eloquence. Socrates, on the other hand, was a staunch believer in the objective nature of truth. He valued knowledge and wisdom over persuasion and rhetoric. He believed that truth was not something to be twisted for personal gain, but rather something to be sought, understood, and cherished. For him, the pursuit of truth was a moral duty, a path towards virtue and a good life. Socrates saw the sophists as dangerous, misleading the public with their focus on persuasion over truth. He dedicated himself to challenging their ideas, using his own method of questioning to expose their arguments as shallow and self-serving. In doing so, he aimed to reveal the true nature of wisdom and virtue. Unlike the sophists, Socrates did not charge for his teachings. He believed that wisdom was not a commodity to be sold, but a gift to be shared. He wanted to lead people towards truth, not exploit their ignorance for profit. His approach was not about winning arguments, but about guiding others to uncover the truth for themselves. Despite the opposition he faced, Socrates remained steadfast in his quest for truth. He did not bend to the popular opinion of the time, nor did he let the persuasive power of the sophists sway him from his path. His dedication to truth and virtue set him apart in a society that valued rhetoric and persuasion. Socrates stood as a beacon of truth in a society swayed by the power of persuasive speech. His legacy continues to inspire philosophers today, reminding us all to seek truth, strive for wisdom, and value knowledge above all else. For Socrates, philosophy was not merely an intellectual exercise, but a way of life. This ethos is deeply rooted in his beliefs about virtue, knowledge, and ignorance, the three pillars that supported his ethical framework. Socrates placed a great emphasis on virtue, viewing it as the highest form of excellence. He proposed that virtue was the most valuable possession, superior to all material wealth. But what does it mean to be virtuous? To Socrates, it meant living a life of integrity, honesty, and moral courage. It was about pursuing truth and justice even when it's challenging or inconvenient. But how does one achieve virtue? Socrates believed that the path to virtue was through knowledge. He held that knowledge was not simply about accumulating facts, but understanding the essence of things. He argued that true knowledge led to good actions, and therefore, a virtuous life. This is encapsulated in his famous dictum, "To know the good is to do the good." This ties in with Socrates' views on ignorance. He saw ignorance as the root of all evil, as it led to wrong actions. However, Socrates didn't view ignorance as a personal failing, but a lack of awareness. He believed that no one willingly does evil, and if they do, it's out of ignorance of what is truly good. These beliefs deeply influenced Socrates' personal life and his trial. He lived a modest life, rejecting material wealth in favor of philosophical discussions. And when he was put on trial for corrupting the youth and impiety, he chose to defend his philosophical beliefs rather than compromise his principles. Socrates' commitment to his ethical beliefs was so strong that he accepted his death sentence, preferring to die than live without philosophy. Socrates' ethics are a testament to his belief in the transformative power of philosophy. They reflect his conviction that philosophy should not be confined to abstract discussions, but should guide our actions and decisions. To Socrates, the unexamined life was not worth living. His life and his death are a profound reminder of this belief. Socrates never wrote down his thoughts, but his student Plato did. Now, let's delve into the profound connection between Socrates and Platonic philosophy. Plato was not just an inspired student, but an interpreter and an amplifier of Socrates' ideas. The influence of Socratic philosophy on Plato is immense, and it's through Plato's dialogues that we have come to know most about Socrates' philosophical ideas. As Plato's mentor, Socrates played a significant role in shaping Platonic philosophy. Socrates' relentless pursuit of truth, his skepticism towards traditional beliefs, and his commitment to ethical conduct permeated Plato's thoughts. Plato adopted these principles and infused them into his own philosophical constructs. In fact, it is said that the entirety of Western philosophy is but a series of footnotes to Plato, and by extension, to Socrates. Plato expanded upon Socrates' ideas in many ways. For instance, while Socrates focused on ethical questions, Plato extended this to a systematic philosophy that incorporated metaphysics, epistemology, and even political philosophy. Plato's theory of forms, for example, is a significant extension of Socratic thought. Socrates' quest for definitions led Plato to the idea that there exists a realm of perfect, eternal, and absolute forms that our everyday world merely imitates. This theory has been instrumental in shaping philosophical thought and continues to be a topic of discussion today. Plato's political philosophy, as elaborated in The Republic, is also deeply influenced by Socratic ideas. Socrates' belief in the power of knowledge and reason laid the groundwork for Plato's ideal state ruled by philosopher kings. To put it simply, Plato took the seeds of wisdom sowed by Socrates and grew an orchard of philosophical ideas. He not only preserved Socratic thought but also expanded and enriched it, providing us with a more comprehensive philosophical system. Through Plato, Socrates' ideas continue to shape philosophy and human thought. The legacy of Socrates, carried forward and amplified by Plato, remains a cornerstone of Western philosophy, a testament to the enduring power of their ideas. Centuries have passed since Socrates walked the streets of Athens, yet his ideas remain as relevant as ever. We live in an era where information is at our fingertips, yet paradoxically, we often find ourselves overwhelmed, unable to discern truth from fallacy. This is where Socrates, the philosopher who lived more than 2,000 years ago, comes into play. In the realm of education, Socratic questioning, a method of inquiry he pioneered, has proven to be an effective tool for fostering critical thinking. It encourages learners to question their assumptions, to dig deeper into their understanding of concepts, and to engage in thoughtful dialogue. This dialogue is not about winning an argument, but about seeking truth, and in the process, gaining a deeper understanding of our world. In the sphere of politics, Socratic questioning can serve as a potent antidote to dogmatism and polarization. It encourages us to question our preconceived notions, to listen to others, and to engage in open, respectful dialogue. It teaches us that wisdom lies not in thinking we have all the answers, but in recognizing our ignorance and striving to learn more. In our personal lives, Socratic philosophy invites us to engage in self-examination. It pushes us to question our beliefs, our values, and our purpose. It compels us to ask ourselves, what kind of person do I want to be? And what is a good life? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones if we are to live with integrity and authenticity. Finally, in a world that often prioritizes the external, wealth, status, appearance, Socratic philosophy reminds us of the importance of cultivating our inner lives. It teaches us that virtue is the highest good, and that a life of wisdom and virtue is a life well lived. In a world of constant change and uncertainty, Socrates' philosophy offers a guide to self-reflection and critical thinking. It challenges us to question, to listen, to learn, and ultimately, to grow. It reminds us that the unexamined life is not worth living, and it invites us to engage in the lifelong pursuit of wisdom. Socrates, a man, a philosopher, a beacon of critical thinking, continues to inspire us today. We've walked through the enigmatic life of Socrates, contrasting his philosophy with pre-Socratic thinkers, understanding his unique Socratic method, and exploring his run-ins with the sophists. We've delved into his ethical beliefs and how they influenced Plato, thereby shaping the entire course of Western philosophy. In our modern world, Socrates still matters. His commitment to questioning assumptions, seeking truth, and valuing wisdom over wealth or reputation is a timeless lesson for us all. His philosophy encourages us to challenge our own beliefs, to strive for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In the spirit of Socratic inquiry, let's continue this discussion. What are your thoughts? What reflections have been sparked? How does Socrates influence your thinking? Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Socratic philosophy. Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Remember, in the spirit of Socrates, question everything.